Welcome to the Tackling College Sports Podcast, the definitive resource to help you navigate your way to play college-level sports. Here are your hosts, Chris Legates and Mark Franco, where they want you, the TCS Nation, to be your best.
Welcome, TCS Nation, and thanks for tuning in to the Tackling College Sports Podcast, Session 14. I'm your host, Mark Franco, and alongside me is my Indian lunch buffet-loving co-host, Chris Legates. Today, Chris and I had a lot of fun speaking with Herm Sorcher, who is the Vice President of Business Development with the Sky Blue FC. They participate in the National Women's Soccer League. Today's session is sort of fast-paced, has a great flow. I think you're going to enjoy it. We cover a lot of topics, from best piece of advice for parents to advice for student athletes. And since Herm has 25 years of experience in professional sports, from baseball to hockey to now women's soccer, we do ask Herm what it takes for a college athlete that wants to be a professional. What traits do they need to make it as that pro athlete? And make sure you stick around and hear the Getting to Know You section to see how Herm handles being in the hot seat with those hard-hitting questions. Without further ado, here's Herm. Herm, good morning. Thanks for tuning in and sitting with us at the Tackling College Sports Podcast. We appreciate your time and pleasure having you here.
Looking forward to it.
Hey, Herm, we know that you've been involved with several different sports, baseball, hockey, and now soccer. Could you just take us back and let us know how you got into the position that you're currently in?
Yeah, definitely. My career started at, I was a student at the University of Hartford. I started working with the Hartford Whalers. I spent 3 years with them. I was in a ticket selling capacity there. I went on to work 17 years in minor league baseball, and then I had 6 years in minor league hockey. This position specifically, my business partner with the Danbury Whalers hockey team ran into the owner of Sky Blue Football Club, Steve Tamaris. He met him at a World Series game, and they were talking about the challenges of running a professional sports team, and what are some of the different philosophies that they have. And one thing led to another, and I ended up in a phone conversation a few days later with Steve Tamaris and with Tony Novo, who's the president and general manager. I spoke with those guys one time, and I listened to what they said and the picture they painted to me, and I was like, wow. I was like, I want to be a part of this. I really think I can help you. I can be a part of growing it. And, I think on both sides, we felt really good about working together. So that's how I got to Sky Blue FC.
Wow. And just refresh us. You've been in this capacity now for how long?
My first day was December 1st. So I got started, probably about 6 weeks ago, and just really have been formulating a lot of plans, talking to people, getting feedback, learning the landscape of what's going on in the soccer world, and getting my feet wet.
Perfect. All right, Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Herm, it's great to talk to you, my friend, and thank you for taking the time to come and visit us on the Tackling College Sports Podcast.
Thank you, Chris. Really happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Again, we go back a long way to the University of Hartford, and it's great to see your progression again through hockey and to baseball, and then back with the Danbury Whalers, and now into a field that I know a little bit about with the professional women's soccer with Sky Blue FC. And as you just mentioned, so far you're getting your feet wet with the new position. What have been some of the challenges you found in working in that crowded landscape of the tri-state area and trying to get Sky Blue, in the face of people in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut market?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've never really ever worried about what anybody else is doing. So, by saying that, I worked for a minor league baseball team that was, it's an hour away from the Mets, an hour away from the Yankees, an hour away from the Trenton Thunder. Scranton was to the west of us. Just with the Danbury Whalers, right in Connecticut. We had the Hartford Wolfpack, the Bridgeport Sound Tigers, 4 Division I hockey teams, 2 that played in the national championship game in Quinnipiac and Yale. So, there's always been a lot of competition, whether we're talking sports or movie theaters, amusement parks, taking someone out to dinner. there's always going to be competition for the entertainment dollar. I think we're so fortunate on the East Coast and in the tri-state area where there's so many people, there's disposable income, and if you put out a good product, you show people a good time, they will believe in you, they will give you a chance, and you can win their business. I mean, I like to think about it like, hey, you know, you have $10 in your pocket. It's your choice where you want to put that money to, and we want to be in that mix. We want to show you a good time. We want you to believe in us, and we want to win your business. And I think all the things that we can do with Sky Blue can get us there, and we can be successful.
Have you found that the World Cup winners, the U.S. women's team winning the World Cup, has helped pave the way in your marketing thus far?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I can talk to people who are peripheral fans, and they will be able to identify with some of the players. And some of the statements that I'll always use are, hey, when you look at the history of this country and some of the legendary national teams that we've had. There've been the Miracle on Ice hockey team in 1980. There's the Dream Team in the Barcelona Olympics. What's third? And really, I think it's the U.S. Women's National Team. And so many people can identify with the players who have grown the sport and some of the victories they've had and the journey they've had. It's been amazing. And so where this was in probably like 1975 versus where it is today, I mean, yeah, I think that's a direct result of the success the women had on the playing field, and that really has translated into growing the brand.
And from a business aspect, Herm, would you say now, because of the win, there are more sponsorship dollars for teams and obviously more opportunities for individual players to market themselves as well?
Oh, definitely. I mean, just on the team front, um, you know, you have people coming to these games who are really passionate, hardcore fans, and what you can position yourself with to a company and to a brand is, hey, we've captured this market. Like specifically, what I see with Sky Blue, the 10-year-old girl who is a soccer player, that market and that demographic and what she brings, by coming to the game with her mom, coming to the game with her dad, being someone who participates in youth sports, being someone who's going to travel to different areas to play in a game. That demographic, I think that's something that, there's businesses that really align themselves with those products. So, there's definitely some great symmetry with that. And then to take it to the level for the individual player, I mean, same type thing. You have some of these women's soccer players, and I mean, they have some serious followings. They have people who, want to know what they wear, what they eat, what they train with, how they train, what they like, and you can really take it to so many levels. So, um, you know, there's great opportunity to where this can go.
And the NWSL saw a huge bump after the World Cup last year as well, from attendance wise, even ratings wise. A little bit better foothold now with the national TV contract. Will you see that? Do you think that bump will carry over into the 2016 season?
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is also an Olympic year, so our season is going to shut down for um, probably 2.5, 3 weeks, somewhere in there, to let the Olympics play out. And I think that's going to be, another major spur to what we're doing. And I think the way we're trying to position what we're doing right now is, telling people, hey, this is going to be coming. This is going to get really big again. Get involved with us before, you know, not before it's too late, but get in now. Like, get in while you can and get the great seats, get the strong sponsorship package. Capture our fans, because this team is the U.S. women's national team is probably going to have a great summer at the Olympics, and it is going to become very hot again. And where that could lead to, I mean, it's growing. It's, hey, look, you saw what it happened. You saw what happened in hockey in the 80s. I mean, the Miracle on Ice really, it changed what hockey was in this country.
Definitely. Definitely. Mark?
Herm, all great points. And you did discuss on your end the successes that you've had in your career. Can you now give the audience a few ideas as far as the challenges that you've had in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I've always been pretty fortunate that I've worked for some fantastic organizations. I mean, some of the challenges that we've had. I mean, I'll give you a couple serious ones, and then one that was, looking back at it, it was a great test. It was a great challenge back then, and almost in a humorous way now. Um, a lot of things that I've done. I mean, I worked on the NHL level, but I worked in some minor. I worked mostly in the minor leagues, and a few times it was launching a career, or launching a team, launching an organization. So, I've definitely been in situations where I'm picking up the phone, I'm calling someone, and I'm explaining to them, who we are, what we do, and what our season is going to be about. And we've always kind of found a way to talk through that. And the easiest way is, we've always used the formula of getting people to say yes. And so, if someone has never heard of a minor league baseball team that I worked with, I could always say, well, have you heard of the New York Yankees? Well, everyone answers yes. Have you heard of Babe Ruth? Of course. Have you heard of Derek Jeter? Yes. Well, when these guys were starting out, they just didn't start with the Yankees. They played on a minor league team, and they kind of went up the system, and that's how they started their career. So hey, that's what we're doing. We're the future stars of Major League Baseball, and we play our games in this venue, and so that would always kind of be a starting point. So when you're launching a startup hockey team, or you're launching a baseball team, and the first part of the conversation is explaining to someone who you are. That I think that's a little tougher than, hey, I'm Joe Smith, I'm from the New York Yankees, or I'm Joe Smith from Madison Square Garden. Those selling those products, you've got a great foundation. You've got brand recognition the minute the minute you make the call. The other challenge, I'd say, when I first got my career started, when I was with the Hartford Whalers, they traded Ron Francis and Ulf Samuelsson and Kevin Dineen all in the same season in 1991. So, as a 22-year-old, pretty much a novice ticket seller, we got some interesting feedback. People, it was the days before the internet when you could post messages and really dig into someone. So, if someone was angry, they would call the ticket line and really let the ticket sellers have it. Hey, how could you do this? We're never coming back. You lost our business. You guys stink. I'm a Ranger fan. So looking back at it, that was kind of interesting. But I think that the challenge that I would say, the greatest challenge that I would say I overcome or have overcome was I sold the lowest levels of minor league hockey, and from basically just its infancy, just launching the league and getting it started.
So it's a learning process.
Oh yeah, definitely every day.
So you took the brunt of the flack, where now you just send out a tweet as it's happening.
Exactly. Yes.
Next question, Herm. How have you found the business climate in Connecticut and Jersey? There's always a lot of talk how difficult it is with red tape in Connecticut, and I think Jersey also falls into that category. But as it relates to athletics and sports venues, if you would.
Yeah, well, I mean, most recently in Connecticut, I tell you, there were some challenges. With the Whalers, what we had going, and again, it's the Danbury Whalers. We had we had ticket taxes, we had admission. Excuse me. I mean, I think everyone has a ticket tax, but an admission tax on top of that. There was the highest rate of workers' compensation in the country we were paying. The housing for players. Some of those things were a little challenging, and we had teams in our league that their business model, paying for the same exact things we were paying, was 20%. It was completely different. So there were some challenges on that end. In New Jersey, I mean, I really haven't been on the financial end of the ownership model of a team in New Jersey. Ever. So I think there's some things I'm probably just not aware of. I I'm a New Jersey native. I love this state. I love the different things that are possible here. I think the state of New Jersey has done some fantastic things over the years with building stadiums, building arenas, building complexes, and really helping communities put these type of properties into their communities. And I'm looking forward to it. I mean, what challenges there might be in New Jersey going forward? I'm really not aware. Maybe in a year I could give you a better answer on that. But I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do.
Excellent. To be determined.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect. Chris, go ahead.
Well, Herm, first let me backtrack a second here and tell you that I probably was one of those phone callers yelling at you when they traded Francis and Samuelson, and I was a huge Whaler fan. And growing up in Connecticut, I was there the last game. I went to the press conference that John Rowland had when they announced that they were going to build them an arena. So I was crushed when the team left. And I guess just piggybacking on one of Mark's questions, with the proximity of Connecticut or Hartford, even between Boston and New York, can there even be a viable professional team in Connecticut?
Oh, definitely. Well, you mean on the major league level?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, look, I think there's some cities that, I mean, depending upon what the sport you're talking about, but if we were specifically saying, like if you're saying, could a major league baseball team operate in the city of Hartford? I mean, I'd say maybe not, but could
hockey come back?
Yeah, could hockey? Definitely. I mean, definitely. I mean, the Whalers had their niche. I mean, they had a great spot that they were in, and you look at cities that have had Major League Hockey, have had the NHL, lost it, and have come back. I mean, it's not a unique proposition. I mean, it happened in Winnipeg, it happened in Atlanta, it happened in Minnesota. It's probably going to happen in Quebec. Maybe there's another team I'm not thinking of right now off the top of my head, but look, I've never visited Winnipeg. I don't know if either of you guys have either.
No.
You can't tell me that Winnipeg has that much better of a model than Hartford. I don't know all the specifics and particulars as to what happened there, but and what spurred that on to bring that back. But whatever the formula was to get a team back in Winnipeg, I can't believe that formula couldn't be applied to Hartford. I mean, if they announced the team was coming back, I think you would have 10,000 season tickets sold within the first 24 hours. I mean, I just really believe that would be the case.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Herm, you've been part of 3 different professional sports leagues, and you've had a chance to experience some things that obviously the regular sports fan doesn't. But just in your dealing with athletes on the professional level, what would you say are some of the traits that you see from the college player to the professional? What advice would you give? What things would you say that you've noticed that makes a college player become a successful professional?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different levels to it, and I've been mostly on the minor league level, and I've definitely seen some real superstars go up on their way to having great professional major league careers, and I've seen guys who come in and really just taken everything and just soaked it all in and had the greatest experience. And I think the numbers are still so astronomical to even be a minor league player and get to the major leagues and get to that highest level and be a real star, that I would always say to everybody, just treat it like it's an honor and a privilege to be part of it, and soak in everything. I mean, participate in everything you can. Go to the schools, go to meet the fans, go to the events, meet the people. I've seen guys who have met girls in town, married them, started families, developed business relationships, gotten jobs, become part of the community. Really just stay connected with people. And one of my first jobs was with the New Britain Red Sox. I was an intern there in the summer of '91, and the general manager there was Jerry Berthiaume. And he was telling me about this one guy who went on to be, he went on to be a major league player. And, he didn't sign a baseball. Like everyone was signing autographs. And he said to this guy after, he's like, hey, what do you want them to remember? Do you want them to remember that you hit a home run, or do you want them to remember the person you were? And, that one little statement that always stuck with me. So I always really loved the guys who connected with the community and who were those great stories. And, it's always fantastic to see when the fans connect to the players, and, it's such a winning proposition. So now if you were saying, like, what would I say to a guy who's a college athlete and wants to make it as a pro? I've seen guys who went into a tryout, a totally open tryout, and, got discovered and were wearing a major league or a professional baseball uniform that night, or wearing a professional hockey jersey later on that season. So, you never know. I mean, work hard. If you're a college athlete and you want to become a pro athlete, work hard and attend an open tryout. And I've seen it firsthand where a guy comes out of that and gets a shot to get paid.
That's a great piece of advice, Herm. Now, this week, or next week, I should say, you're going to be in Baltimore for the for your first NWSL college draft. I'll be seeing you there as well. Now being part of the front office and with your technical staff at Sky Blue, what needs are you guys looking to address in this draft?
Well, that is something that's really the coaching staff and the general manager and the ownership group, they're handling that. I mean, I certainly, I would love to be involved with that someday, but right now at this point, they're handling that, and they're probably gonna make some great decisions. If you ask me from a marketing, from a marketing perspective, I'd love to see us, draft one player from New Jersey, one from Connecticut, one from Pennsylvania. So, we could really, leverage those local relationships and try to get, those youth soccer programs and communities that they grew up in, get them to come out and check out some games.
Have you had, in the short time, any interaction with the technical staff and general manager and such?
Oh, well, the general manager I work with every day, his name's Tony Novo. He's the president and general manager. He was a former professional soccer player. I hate to throw out a year. Let's say in the 80s, somewhere in the 80s he was. And he was also the general manager of the New Jersey Ironman, which was an indoor soccer. So, I mean, he's got some great experience and some great knowledge of the game. And, he's been my coach. He's really helped me, talk about the game a little better and, more refined. One of our coaches is also a guy named Christy Holly. He's from Ireland. I met him, when I was going through the interview process, and that was pretty cool. I mean, he's going to be part of our technical staff, and right now, I think between Christy, Tony Novo, and one of the owners, Steve Tamaris, I think they've really been, crunching the information and trying to make some good decisions as to who is going to be drafted and who is going to be selected.
It should be a lot of fun for you to take part in something like that.
Definitely.
All right, Herm, now here comes the hot seat part. We're going to do the getting to know you section. Now, I have not told Mark anything about our days at the University of Hartford.
Oh, man.
Thankfully, there was no internet or cell phones at that time. But now I'm going to give it to Mark to take it through our world-famous getting to know you section.
Getting to know you section.
I just got to say, what you guys did to me before we even started this interview, I've been getting your newsletter, and I got to tell you, I love the flashback segment where, I caught that
great
Wide World of Sports clip last week, and now this week you sent that thing with the Battle of the Network Stars.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Look, I don't really want anyone to pull up my computer history here, but somehow I ended up on like a 3-minute video of Linda Carter in a Wonder Woman costume running around on a beach. I don't know how I got there. I don't know if you guys did something to my computer, but it was amazing.
Yeah, it was a special hack. It was a special hack that we send out.
Something happened there. It's just I love reading what you guys are doing. You're really you're keeping me interested.
I'm glad you liked it. Perfect. That's awesome. What we want to hear.
Yeah.
All right, the getting to know you section. So, Herm, if we were to search your phone, scroll down to your playlist, what would be the top 3 played songs?
Oh wow! I mean, we got to go. I'm a huge Go-Go's fan. Vacation. I mean that is my
That's
song.
brilliant. That's
I
brilliant.
love the Go-Go's. Love them. I mean, I'm from Freehold, New Jersey, so that's Bruce Springsteen's hometown. He
Sure.
went to my high school. I love Born to Run. I love anything that he did. I mean, I love all his stuff. And then the Beatles. I mean, I love the Beatles too. So I mean, nothing really too current. It's all you know, 80s and 80s and beyond.
It makes sense. That's what you find on ours as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, next question. Any books or books that you're currently reading?
I'm definitely gonna buy the book on Brian Urlacher on how to regrow hair. I mean, have you seen what this guy has done?
Yeah, yeah. I saw the picture of him. Yeah.
I don't, it's crazy. I really don't know if he looks better with hair. I never thought I would say that about a human being. I can't get used to it. I don't know. I don't
Perfect.
know. I don't know what to do. No, you know what? Right now. I'm reading a book. First of all, I'm an avid reader. I love history. I love biographies. I love motivation. I'm reading a book on confessions from the sidelines of the New York Giants. I'm reading a book about Shea Stadium. I'm reading a book that's taking us through the history of the New York Rangers. And then on the motivation end, I'm reading Brian Tracy, who, anyone who is in any kind of, in fact, let me just say this: everybody should read something from Brian Tracy. What I'm reading now is about the psychology of selling and motivation, and you know what he says: the number one trait that everyone should, all successful people have is it's the self-discipline. Without self-discipline, none of the other characteristics and qualities you'll achieve. And really great stuff. And he kind of goes into that. Then I'm reading also Wayne Dyer. He's 100 ways to improve your life, and
Sure.
stuff like that. I mean, the simplest things, really breaking it down. And so I like a combination of sports and motivation, educational stuff.
Well, I'm gonna take your lead and check out the Brian Tracy because I love that kind of stuff myself.
They're incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a favorite quote or quotes?
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's 1973, Tug McGraw. You gotta believe. That has been my mantra. I mean, I am the glass half full, all the time, and I believe we're gonna win. I believe we're gonna do it. We're gonna accomplish everything we want to. And like Tug said in '73, you gotta believe. You just gotta believe.
All right. This is one we just added. Can you give the listeners a little known fact about yourself?
Wow. Well, geez, those are some tough ones. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go back. With me and Chris, because I don't think Chris knows this. I doubt he does. Chris, do you know in 1991 I was named the Roger Wickman Sportsman of the Year, which
Intramurals.
Okay, you did that.
Yeah, I remember. You played every sport, man.
Yeah, I don't know if it really is what the award was given for. Maybe someone liked me or something. But I like to tell people I was named the intramural athlete of the year at the University of Hartford.
That is true, and I know that's a fact. I do know
That's an honor and a distinction. Come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I got that going, and hey, I was a 3-sport varsity athlete. I might not look like it now, but I was definitely a 3-sport varsity athlete.
Perfect. And then next question, any web-based sites or tools that you just simply cannot live without, and they're either work or personally related?
I mean, you had to throw in that personally there. Look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say ESPN.com. I mean, I love that. I love seeing what's happening on ESPN.com. I like to read the NewYorkDailyNews.com. I love LinkedIn. I love reading articles and these group discussions about, if you said professionally, what's a good one? LinkedIn.
Yep.
You can find a category of what you're doing and looking to accomplish, and you can find people talking about it, and you can get information. And I mean, you can connect with people that you probably never would have, never would have had access to. And they're very open. They're giving you information. They're sharing files, and that stuff's tremendous. So, professionally, LinkedIn has been awesome.
Yeah, that site's really come a long way. From
Oh
its
yeah,
infancy, when someone had sent me a LinkedIn years ago,
yeah.
and I just didn't see what am I going to do in this,
Exactly. And then look today. Here's a better answer. The like constant contact, the email service. I mean, here we referenced today how you've sent me 2 of your newsletters recently, and I don't know what service you're using, if it's Constant Contact or
It's
Mailchimp.
Mailchimp. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. I think that's who we're using with Sky Blue, but that's amazing. Like where that has come from. The days of typing a newsletter, sending it to the printer, proofing it, getting it back, mailing it, stamping it, mailing it.
right. All the
Sending out
wasted
10,000. It was,
all the wasted time. Yeah, you could do
yeah,
it
oh
in.
yeah. I mean, now you just type it. You don't even proof it because in most cases you have spell check, and you're getting out so much information. So so many of the teams that I see are successful today, what they've been able to do is really get their information out there to their fans, and do it in an engaging way where they're getting incentivized, they're connected on something they want,
Hmm.
there's something they can accomplish or be a part of, and hey, you guys are doing it with the stuff you've got going. And I can see it. So I'm going to go with the one I couldn't live without is the email system.
Sure. Okay. Excellent. Thanks for participating in the Getting to Know You section. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, you got through it with no problems, Herm. All right.
Easy stuff.
He skated through that.
You guys went easy on me.
All right, so back to some of the other questions here, Herm. With almost 25 years of experience that you've had in professional sports, what sports would you say are, let's say, quote unquote, getting it right from the grassroots level all the way up to the professional level?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I guess because I spent so many years in baseball, I'm going to say that they're probably the best, and they have the best minor league system. I mean, if we were going on that discussion, from youth sports to high school to college to what minor league baseball has become. I mean, minor league baseball is almost like a major league sport in itself. The way the way the stadiums have grown, the merchandising, the opportunities. So I would say baseball is probably at the forefront. I mean, but then if you just said, hey, let's just look at it from a youth sports perspective, what's going on in New Jersey today with youth soccer? It's tremendous. I mean, everybody is playing youth soccer in New Jersey. So I mean, they really have I think they're probably at the forefront on the youth level. Hockey is probably the lowest because look, it's an expensive sport to play, and you're limiting who can play it because you need ice, you need the money to be able to afford the equipment and be properly uniformed, and it's just I don't even know if the game appeals to everyone the way soccer, baseball, and and I would say third, I'd say basketball. I mean, boys and girls are playing basketball. I put football and hockey at the bottom, but I would say baseball and soccer are probably at the top.
Where do you see a sport like a lacrosse now, Herm? Can it be a viable professional sport? Is it something that a fan wants to watch?
That's a great question. I'd say it's something that I really haven't had any experience with, but it's probably like a niche sport. Like there's a legion of people who play it and love it and can tell you everything about it. But it's maybe it's very focused and very regionalized. And there definitely have been some successful professional teams and professional leagues. I mean, certainly what you see on the collegiate level with lacrosse. I mean, it's amazing in some of these schools what they're doing. I look, I always believe that with professional sports that we're selling such a good product that if you go out and you talk to someone, you have a chance to get them to come out to your building and your stadium. And once they're there, if you show them a good time, they're going to be back, and you can keep them as a fan. So, could someone convince me to go to a lacrosse game? Yeah. And could I go there and enjoy it? Definitely. And could I become a lifetime fan? Without question, that could happen. So, it's when you say a professional major league sport, I don't know if anything is going to compete with the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NBA and NHL, but I'm sure there is a spot where that can fall and be successful.
And you kind of just led me in the direction of my next question, which it works out great. With the growth that you've seen in Major League Soccer, and now the growth that you've seen in the NWSL, you have a 25,000 seat, $200 million stadium in Harrison, New Jersey for Red Bull. Do you think soccer is at that spot where now it can compete as being maybe one of the big four?
Yeah, I think. I mean, definitely. Look, there's some people who would say hockey isn't even in the big four. If you look at what's going on in Europe and England and Germany and France and all these other Italy, all these other leagues that are happening all across the globe. I think soccer definitely. I think it's probably a matter of time. I think what the MLS is doing is fantastic. I mean, to see all these new stadiums, to see these soccer only stadiums, to see stands that are packed with fans having a great time and a great experience, it's unbelievable. I mean, if you looked at the brand loyalty to a team, I would say soccer fans are just as brand loyal as any New York Ranger fan or New York Yankee fan, maybe even more so than some of the baseball. I think maybe football, soccer, and hockey are probably the three most passionate sports for fans.
I totally agree. And I think now, with the way technology has changed, Herm, and this is my next question for you, how have you seen social media be important for you, not only as an executive of professional sports, but for the players as well? Because TV ratings aren't that important anymore when people are able to pick up their device and watch a game, or pick up their tablet and watch a game. How have you seen the social media impact at your level as an executive and for the athletes as well?
Yeah. Well, as an executive, it's probably become the biggest source of growing the business than anything else. I mean, growing up or getting started in the industry, I mean, everything was newspaper, radio. Are we going to do anything on TV to advertise the games? Now it's all, hey, how many people like our Facebook? What mess? How many followers do we have on Twitter? What's the message we're sending out? Are we sending something and we're asking for the fans to respond to it? How many people do we have in our email list? What are we sending them? How are we linking that? How many people do we have watching our YouTube videos? All those things are tremendous, and they get people interested. Not the most overwhelming response of a question to ask a fan is, "Hey, how'd you hear about the game? How'd you hear about what we did last night?" The overwhelming answer is, "I checked your website. I got your email. I saw it on Facebook." Those are things that didn't exist. Pre 1995, for what I was doing, they didn't really exist. I mean, I remember the first guy who told me what the internet was, and he's like, "Here, come on over. Let me show you what's on this computer." He's like, "Type in baseball trivia." We say, it was amazing. He's like, "Hey, you guys got to get a website. Let me show you how we can build this." And where it took off from then, it's unbelievable. I mean, now, think about this. Like, I'm looking at results of teams, in leagues that I've been in. I will click on a link and see what the score was, watch a highlight, see what the attendance was, see pictures. I mean, that wasn't possible, a few years ago. I mean, it's amazing how far it's grown. And then with the players, I mean, on this level, again, going back to the marketing end of it, the players like Christy Rampone, Hope Solo, Alex Morgan, the amount of followers they have on their Facebook pages, on their Twitter, tremendous. I mean, they can influence people. They can really influence decisions and fans and connect brand loyalty. So there's a lot of great things. I mean, for the most part, it's very positive. I mean, sometimes you can get some things that that spin a little negatively, and those are the days. Wow, I wish Facebook didn't exist, or I wish we didn't have to address this or deal with it. But overall, everything is really going in a fantastic direction on that front.
Can you name one of those negative occurrences or something that may have happened with that?
One thing that pops into my head real quick was with the Whalers. We had signed a military veteran. He was an active. What was his position? He was an Army. I think his title was he was like an Army specialist. Basically the guy was, pretty decorated soldier, and he was stationed in upstate New York, and but was a hockey player and wanted to play a game with us, and we had connected with him, and it really developed into a fantastic story. Like, he came down, he trained with us, he was fantastic. But then when the actual time came to play in the game, the coach, he was like just gung ho, I want to win this game. So he really didn't play this Army specialist as much as we wanted. So like we kind of like pumped up this promotion. Hey, it's going to happen. Come see Army specialist Sean Allen. Check him out. And he only played like 30 seconds. So there was like some you guys disrespected him, and you did this. So we were able to diffuse it, but it was like a little bit of a topic. And then we had some issues with we were debating with the city of Connecticut, or the city of Danbury, on what was a fair and reasonable charge for security. Like, how many police officers did we need to have at a hockey game? And the debate became very public. People love a hockey team, so the people that love the hockey team supported us. The people that felt that it was a violent spot and you needed to have more police officers than we thought, they were hammering us. So it was, sometimes you get into debates and it's not always positive. So I think as a rule, I think you want to always be fair. And you want, I believe, if someone contacts you, I believe you want to respond. I believe you don't pick and choose who you're going to respond to. I think you have to, I think you have to be fair that way. But I think those are probably two examples of some social media blips on the radar that weren't always positive.
Before you move on, I just have a quick question I thought of as it pertains to social media, and I would think that from someone on your coming from your standpoint, that player and fan engagement is a pretty big deal on social media. Yeah. Does the front office encourage the players to get involved like that?
It's kind of like been it's like one of those double-edged swords, or
sure,
fine line type of things, because like we talked about, we want our players to connect with the fans. We want them to reach out and have relationships with them. You're always going to get that fine line between, hey, this is a business,
right?
And it's a team, and sometimes there's some hard decisions that have to be made. Like, just as an example, you might have a very popular player who, has some great relationships with the fans, and he's traded, or like Ron Francis or Elf Samuelson, or
right,
or even on a lower level, a minor league player. And sometimes that's tough. And a guy who maybe is cut or traded, and hey, he might have some hard words for the organization, and he might have some sour grapes, or might not feel good about the way he was treated. And then you have people who are very loyal to the team, but developed a great relationship with this player. And, then it's like, hey, you took a great fan and now
soured him. Yeah, they're soured. Yeah.
So, there've been some things like that, over the years, but, look, overall, I would, I always try to keep it, very positive. Like I said, I try to answer every question that I'm ever asked. And, I don't want anyone to ever think, oh, hey, he's running away from something. He's avoiding it. And, I believe in being open and honest with the fans, and even, beating them to the punch, like just saying, hey, this here's what happened. Here's what we're going to do. Here's our solution. Here's how we're going to fix it. And, for the most part, I think people are always really very understanding with that. And, they give you a chance. They want to believe in you, and they want to love this team. So, that's always kind of been my philosophy.
Yeah, sounds good.
Herm, you're a wealth of knowledge in sports, and now your whole life really now has been dedicated to working in the field of athletics. We've had coaches and we've had sports psychologists and different types of people come in and talk about what advice they would give to student athletes and what advice they would give to the parents of student athletes who are looking to make that jump from high school to college, and in some cases, in your case, the jump from college to professional. What advice would you give a student athlete and parents as well?
Kind of going back to something we said about the student athlete, I would say, there's so many professional leagues that are growing and developing, whether they're in, this country or another part of the world. So, I believe someone who's playing a college sport on some level in this country will have an opportunity, depending upon how far they want to go. You can find an opportunity to play professionally and to get that experience. And, we've had guys, I'm going to go back to hockey, but, we had guys who were playing for us in Danbury, and then they went to Australia to play hockey during the summer, or went to France the next season to play professionally there. And these weren't like NHL level players or NHL level leagues, but there were opportunities that were created. So I would say use the opportunity you have to take advantage of things that you might never get a chance to experience ever again. And so I love it when guys get the chance to go overseas and be part of something like that. The thing with parents, that's it's kind of an interesting dynamic, because jumping from collegiate sports, where it's, I believe that's really very connected to the family life. And once you're a professional, even on the lowest levels, you want to conduct yourself as a professional. And the days of your parents getting involved, I don't believe that helps your career. I think it's I think there's got to be a fine line on that. And we had a coach, not that I really dealt with this much, if any. I would say most of my interactions with parents were just absolutely fantastic. But anytime there was a situation, we had this one particular coach, and he would sit down with the players and he would say, look, there's nothing your mother or father is going to say to me that is going to help your career. And, he's like, let's try to keep this a professional atmosphere. And I thought that, that was something that he always said at the start of the year. And I thought that was right to the point. Basically was saying, hey, this is a pro league, and, let's function as that. So, I don't know where the parents fit in on the professional sports level with the coaching end, but I hope that answered the question in a nice, tactful way.
No, definitely, and it's great advice, because I think that would apply even to the college level and even to the high school level.
Yeah.
Mark.
All right, Herm. So we're close here to wrapping up, and we just wanted to give you an opportunity to give any final thoughts or parting words for the listeners.
Well, first of all, I just really appreciate the time and the opportunity to speak about Sky Blue and what we're doing and what we're trying to get going. I think it's going to be an incredible season for us. I think the league is growing. I think it's getting stronger. There's some fantastic pieces that are in place with it already, and what I think we can accomplish as a team and as an organization, I think we can really raise the bar and really do some things that maybe haven't been done before, and maybe some things that people didn't think we could ever get to. And I look forward to the challenge, and I look forward to hearing from the fans. And I always say, I want to hear from the fans, because this team has got to be what they want to see. I could tell you what I think it should look like, but you're the ones buying the tickets. You're the ones who are coming out and checking it out. You want it to be something that you enjoy. So, we got to get a hardworking, passionate, energetic team and be engaged with our community, improve the quality of life where we are, and be a team that the people love. And any reason why we can't accomplish that, I think in a lot of cases, on a lot of levels, we're already there. A lot of that already exists. I think we just got to build on it and add to it.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No doubt you guys are going to do that. How can listeners get in touch with you, whether it be email, via web, social media?
Yeah, two best ways to get me are through email, which is Sorcher, so that's SORCHER at skybluesoccer.com, or you can contact me by cell phone. That's at 973-713-7547.
Perfect. And lastly, do you have anything that you wish to promote today?
Just anyone who was in your listening audience who wants to check out what we're doing, I would love to see you down there. I'd love to hear from you as to what you think would be a successful promotion that we did. What's something that you think makes a great soccer experience? What is going to make Sky Blue FC a destination event? I would love fans to tell me that, because that's what I want to work on to put it together.
And if our listeners call you and attend a game, you're going to guarantee a W.
Always. Well, hey, that's hey, come on, always. I always would say someone is going to win.
Someone's going to win.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, listen, we're wrapping up. We really appreciate speaking. Once again, it's Herm Sorcher, Vice President, Business Development for Sky Blue FC in the National Women's Soccer League. All the best to you on a great season this year. Chris and I will definitely come down and check out a match.
Oh, wow. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. That's going to be awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah. So before we go, just remember our contact information, website, tcsnation.com. Make sure you sign up for with your first name and email to be included in the Friday 5, which Herm so graciously pointed out and appreciates getting. You can email us at chris@tcsnation.com or mark@tcsnation.com. Facebook is facebook.com/tackling college sports. Twitter @TCS Nation. Graham is TCS Nation. And someone tells me we're on Pinterest somewhere. So with that, until next time, be your best.
Be your best.
Your college sports future awaits. So join the TCS Nation and be your best.